Quality Improvement in Math Education project conducted by IIT Bombay under the valuable guidance of Professor Rana sir and Professor Gharpure sir. I am presenting here video based PPT presentation 2019. My name is Sanjay Vishnu Joshi. Registration number MTE099. Name of the school ASD Topiwala High School, Malwan, District, Sindhudurg. My topic is graph. Subtopic joint bar graph or double bar graph. Observe and explore. I am going to show you some slides. Observe the slides carefully and mention your observations in your notebook. Okay. Again, observe very carefully. Try to write down as far as possible observations in your notebook.
Good morning, class. Today we're going to learn about the graphs of life. We're going to learn about bar graphs, pie charts, and line graphs. There are many different kinds of graphs. We're only going to learn about 3 of them today. The graphs are used to record lots of different kinds of information. For example, this is a bar graph. This is a pie chart, except we're not going to eat this pie. This one is a line graph. The line shows us how the data changes over time. Bar graphs let us easily compare the number of a certain object. For example, my friend Sarah has 1 dog. I have 1 dog too. My friend Katie has a cat, but no dog. Some other people have other pets. We can graph this information to see it more easily. Pie graphs help us to see the percent something takes up of the whole. You can picture this like a pizza. If Sammy eats 2 of the 8 pieces, she has eaten 25% of the whole pizza. Now, if Mike eats 4 of the pieces, he has eaten 50% of the whole pizza. Line graphs can be used to show how something changes over a certain amount of time. When I was 5, I was 40 inches tall. I kept growing until I was 13, when I reached 62 inches. You can see my growing trend through the line in the graph. Choosing the right graph is an important task. Some information just simply cannot be put into certain graphs. Each graph has a very specific job. As you can see, the line graph is telling you that it's his job to show a trend over time. The pie graph has a job of showing you part of a whole. And a bar graph shows you how many objects are there in one category or another. In all of our graphs, we need to make sure we label what we are measuring. You need a descriptive title, such as pets, on this graph. For bar graphs, you also need to label the sides. So we are measuring what kind of pets someone has on this side, and on this side we are measuring how many people have that pet. For pie graphs, we also need to have a title. We need to show what each color in the graph represents. Right here, this is called the legend. We should also mark what percent of the whole each section represents. For a line graph, we do the same kind of thing we did for the bar graph and mark that we are measuring how tall I was on this side and what age I was on this side. We also have a title for this graph too. Now it's time to choose one of these three graphs all on your own. You will make a graph of the information provided for you on your worksheet. Choose one, but be wise for which one you choose for the information that you choose to go with it. This has been a lesson on graphs of life.
Now see which type of graph is this. Observe the graph. I feel that you are very familiar with this type of graph. Observe and note down your observation. See the graph carefully. See everything which is shown on the graph. I will ask some questions afterwards. Ready for that. Now see, these graphs shows bars of dismissal of batsmen separately. Your favorite cricket players Virat and Dhoni, their bar plots are given. Types of dismissals are bold, caught out, LBW, etc. See these graphs also very carefully. Dismissal of batsmen, the graphs are shown in separate manner. Have you observed it? Okay. Now the question is, see, very big question is there. How we will compare the dismissal of both batsmen in just one click or in one site? I repeat the question. Listen the question very carefully. You observe the dismissal of batsmen by using bar graph, simple bar graph. The graphs are separate. The question is how we will compare the dismissal of both batsmen in just one click or in one site. Define and prove. Here the definition of simple bar graph, I feel that you are familiar with that, is given. I read the definition, you listen it carefully, we note this definition afterwards. A bar chart or a bar graph is a chart or graph that presents categorical data with rectangular bars with heights or lengths proportional to the values that they represent. The bars can be plotted vertically or horizontally. In a grouped bar chart, also known as joint bar graph, for each categorical group there are two or more bars. These bars are color coded to represent a particular grouping. You feel that this definition is slightly difficult. Now we take actual problem and solve that problem to draw a joint bar graph. Before drawing the actual graph, see some conditions. To draw any type of graph, conditions are very necessary. You have to remember that conditions and then draw the graph. To draw joint bar graph, following conditions are necessary. You note down the conditions. Variables must be two. Data must be quantitative. Quantities must be of same unit. Width of all columns should be equal. Distance between two consecutive sets of the bars must be equal. I repeat the conditions which are very important for you to draw a joint bar graph. Variables must be two, data must be quantitative, quantities must be of same unit, width of all columns should be equal, distance between two consecutive sets of the bars must be equal. Okay. Now we take another example to draw a joint bar graph. We will use Microsoft Excel software to draw the graph. Now there is one question in your mind, how we can draw the graph on the graph paper. Okay, that we will also going to solve. But first we will use Microsoft Excel software to draw the joint bar graph. Are you ready? Okay.
Now we will see here how to draw a joint bar graph using Microsoft Excel. Open the Microsoft Excel. Now here I typed a problem in advance. Following table shows marks obtained by Riya and Ritu in annual examination. Each paper was of 100 marks. Draw a joint bar graph for the given information. Subject, the names are Riya and Ritu. Subjects are Marathi, Hindi, English, Maths, Science and Social Science. And marks obtained by Riya and Ritu are given in the table. Now first step is select the data. Subject Riya, Ritu and all following rows. Then go to the Insert tab. Click here. You will see number of options are there. Our target is to draw a joint bar graph. Select Insert column or bar graph. Here 2D column, 3D column, 2D bar, 3D bar. Various options are there. We will go to the more column charts, and in that chart see the first option for joint bar graph. Select it, double click. Now see, here the columns are vertical. The columns are near to each other but not joint. So again go to the Insert, go to the recommended charts, see whether you get a joint bar graph. Yes, here it is. See, in this joint bar graph, the bars are horizontal. No problem. Go to again bar graph, more bar graph, and the first option. Here you see names of Riya and Ritu are at the bottom. Select it, right click, format legend. You will get options top, bottom, left, right, top right. You may choose anyone, but generally the legends are at the top right. So see here, the change occurs. They are appearing at the top right. Now we are going to insert a chart title. Select chart title. The title is joint bar graph. Enter it. You will get the joint bar graph. Now you may increase the size of this graph. Left click. I change the place. Now I change the size. Now see what is the special in this joint graph bar graph using Excel. If you take a arrow and this blue column, you will see series RIA, point is Marathi and value is 87. Series Ritu, point Marathi, value is 90. So you will get all values. So this is a very simple procedure to draw a joint bar graph by using Microsoft Excel. Now if you want to solve another problem, you have to type the chart or a table and then follow the procedure as you seen in this video. Now close the window, save your workings, and your joint bar graph work is over.
Apply and evaluate. The maximum and minimum temperatures of 5 different cities are given in degrees Celsius. Draw a joint bar graph for the data. Observe the given table. City: Mumbai, Nagpur, Kolkata, Delhi, Pune. Maximum and minimum temperatures are given. You have to select the appropriate scale, and when you draw this bar graph on a graph paper, as you are familiar to draw the simple graph on the graph paper, same procedure you have to follow, but here see how this graph appears. In simple bar graph, there is only one column or one bar, and see here are two quantities, maximum temperature and minimum temperature. So for Mumbai, maximum temperature is 35, that is shown in the graph. Minimum temperature for Mumbai is 26. Another bar is there which is joint. There is no distance between the columns drawn for Mumbai. Now in this type of graph, you must show the difference between the columns. See at the right top, the blank column is for maximum temperature and designed column is for minimum temperature. Now see the conditions in your notebook again and compare that conditions with this graph. Quantities are 2, quantity is having same units, width of the columns is same, and distance between any two consecutive joint bars is equal. This is the second problem. You have to solve the problem with not anyone's help. From the given data, draw a joint bar graph showing number of girls and boys in each class. I will give you the hint only Observe the table carefully, which quantities are given, and you have to draw a joint bar graph showing number of girls and boys in each class. This is the third problem for you. This is the simple bar plot showing dismissals of Virat and Dhoni. Show the same information by using joint bar graph. At the beginning, you observe these graphs, collect the information correctly, draw the proper table, and show this information using joint bar graph. Just try this. Collect various kinds of graphs and discuss them with your friends. At a glance, we come to the conclusion. More information can be given using less space in the joint bar graph. It is useful for a comparative study. It makes comparison of two quantities easier. The joint bar graph is very simple to draw and easy to evaluate. I repeat it at a glance. More information can be given using less space. It is useful for a comparative study. It makes comparison of two quantities easier, simple to draw, and easy to evaluate. Thank you.